how are we gonna have 3 games, three All-Star games? Like we had hard enough time trying to get everyone to compete at a high level playing in one game.
Gonna cry?
It's I don't know, man. It's people just look at the All-Star break. It's like, damn, I get time to chill.
They use it. Paul George. Air ball brought the house down. Half of the East roster, 25 years or younger.
And then you watching everybody around you enjoy vacation and enjoying off time. And you like, I still gotta, I gotta go hard for this game.
Good answer. And now Jaylen Brown.
Like, I gotta go hard for this game.
Right.
As I'm sure you guys know, when it comes to Paul George, he's one of my least favorite players in the NBA, if not my least favorite. And why I despise someone like Paul George so much is not because of his playoff failures, playoff chokes, even his decline as a player. Why I despise Paul George, why many people despise Paul George, has to do with his mentality, attitude, and approach to basketball.
Yeah, I mean, it's different. I'm used to scrapping and running around and chasing and fighting through screens, and to be honest, I'm bored. Playing and on a 5.
Tell me he didn't just say that.
Now, those comments right there can be interpreted in a ton of different ways, but the way I take them is a thinly veiled shot at Joel Embiid, of course, Philadelphia's center. As what Paul George is essentially saying, in my view, is that Embiid's not here, I'm playing the 5, and I'm tired of this, I'm bored with it, and I'm basically blaming Embiid for the team failing.
Now we can blame him for everything!
And look, on one hand, I understand that, but using the word bored, it's one of the worst things you could possibly do. As looking at Philly right now, you are 15-21, the 11th seed in the Eastern Conference. Using the word bored, it's a terrible choice of words, especially for Paul George. And if you want to talk being bored, you know what I'm bored with? Wannabe superstars like Paul George going from city to city, conference to conference, just robbing NBA teams and robbing NBA fans. Because of course, missing games, that's not even the worst problem. Guys like Paul George have subpar and questionable effort. The motivation doesn't seem to be there, and the apathy towards winning is downright disgusting.
I'm sick of your crybaby bullshit.
For someone like Paul George, he has the talent of a #1 option, the talent of an NBA Hall of Famer, but in terms of attitude, mentality, overall leadership, that's simply never been there for someone like Paul George. At this point, he's one of those guys who's almost super willing, even eager, to point their finger at anyone but himself when adversity strikes. And again, looking at Paul George, the individual player, this guy is the last guy to be talking. This year in Philly, 16.5 points per game, his lowest since 2012, his second year in the NBA. Shooting percentage, 41.7, the lowest of his career. From 3, 34%, the lowest since rookie season. And from the free throw line, down 9% from just last year. And the icing on top of the cake for Paul George, out of 36 games this year already, he's missed 11. And in 4 games, has scored under 10 points, and in 6 games, shot under 30%.
My God, what is that smell?
George with 5. George with a dribble.
That's the smell of desire, my lady.
The idea of someone like Paul George on paper, it makes sense, it looks phenomenal. But Paul George in play just never seems to actually work. And this guy at his best in his prime, a highly efficient wing scorer who debatably could be #1. To me personally, he never was that. He was a high caliber 2, but not a serious championship guy and a leader of a franchise. And to nail that point home even further, here's Paul George's own words describing his attitude and approach to the NBA's new All-Star game.
Here's we already had a hard time with one game. How are we going to have 3 games, 3 All-Star games? Like, we had hard enough time trying to get everyone to compete at a high level playing in one game.
Right.
So I just don't understand how, I guess it's a shorter number to play to. So I guess that's the competition. That's the competitive part about it. It's competing to get to that. I think it's 40 or something like that. But yeah, I don't like the format.
So first off, Podcast P, the All-Star game, you actually playing this game, don't worry, you're not going to be there. You're not going to be there for a long time.
Paved Yabusele's way back to the NBA as George, wow.
Where you at? In the bathroom.
Now, the most telling part of Paul George's statement right there, he said verbatim,
We already had a hard time with one game. How are we going to have 3 games?
I mean, that right there is absolutely damning. Almost Exhibit A of today's players not taking things seriously. And again, you want to talk individual skill, cool handles, all these workouts and moves. Yesterday's players, they have all that. But in terms of competitiveness, just drive to outdo their peers, for some reason, that's not there, and it's absent for this era.
It's just, I don't know, man. It's people just look at the All-Star break. It's like, damn, I get time to chill. Like I get time to get a breather, get a break, get a rest. And then you throw the All-Star game in there midway, and then you watching everybody around you enjoy vacation and enjoying off time. And you like, shit, I still got to, I got to go hard for this game.
It has been quite the week for you, and the weekend is banding together to introduce this All-Star game Sunday. What a special ball.
So to kind of see it through their eyes, and
it's just, I don't know, man. It's people just look at the All-Star break. It's like, damn, I get time to chill.
So stopping Podcast P right there, I said it a couple of weeks ago. Somebody take this guy's mic, get him off the internet, stop doing these player podcasts, because every episode, every video, you should expose yourself with your own words. As George right there said willingly, openly, guys at All-Star Weekend just want to chill, take it easy, and they're most jealous of players who are on vacation and that aren't All-Stars. This right here is like someone admitting to a murder, saying, yep, I did it, here's the proof, there's the crime scene, that's me at the crime scene.
the case is closed.
And in terms of mega NBA superstars, the great players, I mean, these guys get paid tons and tons of money to perform for the fans and show out for the fans. No offense to the role player guys in the NBA who are like 15, even 10 points per game. Those guys are vital and great for teams winning. But if your son Yabusele misses a game and I go to that game, I'm not going to be like, damn, I missed him, he didn't play. Now, if someone like Maxey didn't play, sat out, then I might be pissed. That's kind of the trade-off in superstar players and the role players. Those guys are the best players in the NBA. They're held to a higher standard because, of course, you're getting paid much more. When those guys don't play the game seriously, the NBA as a whole suffers.
I don't mind if playing hard and putting on a show, but like it's everybody's got to do it.
Right.
But I do get why guys are like, man, I would much rather get some of this rest.
So Podcast P right there, obviously a follower, not a leader, and has no leadership qualities, abilities to even just lead by example at the very least. And that right there is a key word, leadership. Who is the leader of the NBA? Who has their hand at the wheel, steering the ship into the future? Is it Adam Silver, LeBron, some committee? I mean, who is it? Whoever it is, they're doing a terrible job. And in terms of veteran player leadership, saying to play hard at the All-Star game should be like the bare minimum requirement of a superstar player and a leader of the NBA. And again, George right here in his own words, just kind of saying, we don't really care.
Rightfully so. There's been a lot of stars that have been injured and been hurt. And so they aren't, available every night. Myself being in that, haven't been healthy some games or needed a game to get completely healthy.
So the way I interpret that right there as Paul George, what he's saying is that athletes nowadays, they could play in some games, but they choose not to. And the key word is fully healthy. A lot of guys around mid-January, they're 75, 80%, maybe 85%. Nobody right now is 100% healthy and rested. It's just not possible. But for someone like George, his mindset is that I can't really play at half speed, being semi-hurt, semi-banged up. For Paul George, that means I'm resting, I'm not playing.
No, I don't really feel like it.
Like I've said numerous times, if you have a broken arm, a concussion, a very serious injury, you medically cannot play. I mean, that's fine, we understand that. You should sit out. But if you're fatigued, has a wear and tear, and you're not playing at 85%, even like 75%, that's a problem for a professional athlete. And again, looking at past players, even 10-15 years ago, a lot of guys would play all 82 games. And of course, why would they do that? Playing all 82 games, it is a grind, it is hard, an accomplishment. In a lot of ways, accomplishing that feat was all about honor, integrity, and respect for the game, as was fans. And of course, those guys back then, they weren't 100% healthy every single night. But what did they do? They grinded out, they played, through bumps, bruises, and minor injuries. And look, we can debate eras versus eras all day long, but for someone like Paul George, he's kind of the pinnacle and the peak of a soft NBA player, not only in terms of being banged up and hurt, but also in mindset and approach to the game of basketball.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin Ultra Soft?
Podcast P at this point doesn't to hang it up, call it a day. You had a very good NBA career. You weren't a champion when the top 5%, but you were a very good player who had a successful career. And looking at George this year, he has more noteworthy things off the court than actually on the court. As of course watching his podcast, more entertaining and insightful than his actual game on the court. So that right there is the end of the video. As always, thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.